Hello class. Today we're going to go over mixing some color, and we're starting out with our primaries, and then we'll get into secondaries and tertiaries. So we're also going to be dealing with some vocabulary, introducing you to some new vocabulary, some new jargon, and also showing you how to prepare some color. This is in reference to phase 2 of painting assignment number 2, where we are going to introduce color on top of that earth tone underpainting that was in the last assignment, or in the last video. This is just a demonstration video. This is what's pretty important. It's not just a demonstration video, but it's not an exercise video, put it that way. So let's go over our primary colors. These are our primary colors: cadmium red medium, cadmium yellow medium, and of course our old friend ultramarine blue. And you can see I've already laid them out on the palette. Let me get these out of the way. I've put them out on the palette. And remember, we're using a standard palette. That is to say, each color has a specific place that it goes. And blue, the ultramarine blue, is down here in the lower right. And I've placed cadmium red in the upper right. And then cadmium yellow medium in the upper left. Okay, and we're going to mix out our colors around the perimeter of the palette. And then the lower left is reserved for titanium white. I haven't laid any out because I'm not using it for this particular demonstration, but tints are always a possibility. When you're actually mixing color, you can make tints and stuff. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, now that the primaries are laid out, is mix up our secondary colors. Secondary colors would be things like green, violet, and orange. And we'll start with orange. Okay, orange is a fairly simple secondary color to mix. These secondary colors are called secondary because they're a combination of two primaries. Okay, primary color, in theory, is not mixed from any two colors, although there's different kinds of yellows and different kinds of reds and different kinds of blues. Theoretically, anyway, you're not mixing two colors to make a blue. However, you can mix two colors to make an orange, or to make a violet, or to make a green. Now, let me get my other knife here. There is a particular procedure that I would recommend for making orange. See what I've done here? I've laid out some yellow and then put a small quantity of red beside it. And what I'm going to do is add red into the yellow incrementally. I add red to the yellow, not add yellow to the red. Why? Because of the two colors, the red is the stronger color. Red's dominant, you could say. It makes rather, it doesn't take much red to affect a change in the yellow. If I was trying to add yellow to red, it would take me twice as much yellow to get the same result. But just add a little red into some yellow, and suddenly I get an orange. Okay? We call that a middle orange. I call it a middle orange because it's not too red and it's not too yellow. It's orange. How do you know it's orange? You know it's orange because it looks like orange. It looks just as orange as you think orange would look like. There it is, orange. Okay? Now, that's an example of a secondary color. There is such a thing as a tertiary color. Tertiary color is those are colors that sit in between the primary and the secondary. The orange is the secondary, and let's say the yellow. The yellow is the primary. I'm going to make a tertiary. That's an intermediate color, a color that's in between orange and yellow in this case. And I start with yellow. I pick up a little orange. I add the orange to the yellow, and I'm making a yellow-orange. When you're naming the tertiary, the primary always comes first. Yellow, orange, yellow, orange. Okay? You see that? It's more orange than yellow. It's more yellow than orange. yellow-orange. You can, and we'll get into this in a future exercise again, but I just want to introduce you to the concept. You can make a yellow-orange. That's where the color is closer to yellow than it is to orange, but is still more orange than yellow. And conversely, you can make a yellow-orange-orange. Start again with orange. Start again with yellow-orange, add more orange to it. And what you're trying to do is make a color that is more yellow than orange, but more orange than yellow-orange. Okay? You see what I'm doing there? You get tertiary colors. Primary, yellow, secondary, orange, and then 3 versions of a tertiary color. Start with yellow-orange and then make the 2 extremes. This can go in the other direction. If I take some orange and I'm placing it between the orange and the red, and I'll pick up a little of this red and I'll add it to the orange. This gives me a red-orange. Okay? Red-orange. And I can take that and make it redder, and I get a red-orange. More orange than the red-orange. More red than the red-orange. More orange than the red. Tertiary color, okay? These are tertiary colors. Secondary color, orange. Add just a touch of red this time. I'm going to make a red-orange-orange. All right. Are you following me? Do you see the theory here? You see what we're doing? Primary, secondary, tertiary. Red, orange, red-orange. And then, of course, you got 2 little side tertiaries. Red-orange, and red-orange-orange. Now, the same thing we can do with violet. Now, we're going to make a violet. I'm going to start out with blue. I'm going to start with blue. Again, the red is the more dominant, the more powerful of all the tertiaries. Of all the primaries. Okay, and I'm going to incrementally add red into the blue and turn it violet. Now, because we're using cadmium red medium as our red, my violet is going to be very warm. It'll be sort of a burgundy color, okay? Kind of a plum color, if you will. Violet is very dark on the palette. How can we test the violet to see if we're getting the color we want? I'm going to reach over to another palette I've got working, and I'm going to pull out a little bit of white. We're going to test our violet, okay? This is a good little experiment. I want to see if I've got a violet or if I've got a red violet. I think this is violet. Let's find out. Let's add some white to it. Let's tint the violet. Yep, there it is. Okay. Purple. That's what I like to call purple. That's violet. That's purple. That's the difference. Now you'll notice when I made the tint, it's grayed down a bit. It's a little on the gray side. I'm sure there's some sort of fancy designer color name for that color. Periwinkle. How about that? Okay. You'll see that it's a little on the gray side. That's because we're using cadmium red. Later in the semester, I'll show you another recipe for violet that gives us a really deep, dark, scarlet purple. But this is good for now. This is a good purple to work with, a good violet to work with. Okay, so that plum color is our violet. Secondary violet. Primary, secondary, primary. Blue is one parent, red is the other parent, and the secondary is a little child right there. Now, if I want to make that's violet. If I want to make a red violet, I would get some of my violet and I would add a little more red to it, okay? And there it is. You get that hot violet, right? A blue violet. I take a little more blue. I add a little violet into my blue, and I get a blue violet. Notice that the blue violet tends to be darker in value than the violet. Let's test that with white just a little bit, just for fun, see what it does. Look at that. Get that beautiful blue-gray, that powder blue. All right, if I tint the red violet, what do I come up with? A little bit of white. Look at that. Kind of a hot pink, right? So there's all kinds of fun things you can do with just a little bit of color. Next up, we're going to make green. Where does green go on our palette? Now, normally white would be here in the lower left. This space right here, this bar right here, could be reserved for your earth tones. I tend to put green, I like to put green right up here. It's away from the blue, I know, but it's next to the yellow and it rounds out our palette. So let's start with that. We're going to begin by laying down some yellow, and we're going to add blue to the yellow. See, why is there a specific way of doing this? Why? Well, basically to conserve on paint, right? If I'm trying to make a green, and I'm making the green by adding yellow to blue, it's going to take me twice as much yellow to get the same green as if I were to add blue to yellow. Well, what difference does it make, Mr. Lyles? Why should that matter? Well, you paid for the paint, didn't you? All right, I'm trying to show you the most effective way to use it. Take blue and add it incrementally to the yellow. Look at that, it didn't take much. Now that's not a true green, that's a yellow green. But I want to approach this incrementally. I'm going to be going for a middle green. Yeah, see, I get the rest of the blue in there. Middle green, what I refer to as middle green, means it's a middle value. It's green. It's not yellow green. It's not blue green. It's green. I think we can get away with having just a little more blue in that. That is the value or the benefit or the virtue. That's probably a better word, virtue. That's the virtue of adding blue to the yellow incrementally, is that you can see what you're doing. And when you're mixing color is all about paying attention to what you're doing, seeing the results of what you're doing, okay? Thinking it through. With color, you need to think it through. It's not enough just to react. You have to think about it. Because you're thinking about color relationships, you're thinking about value, etc. Now, we're doing a simple primary, secondary, tertiary color layout, and this will give us a range of colors that we can then apply to that tonal value underpainting, okay? Which is a pretty good approach. Our next video will get into that, and that'll be coming out very soon as well. But before I got into that, I wanted to show you how to mix up color. Okay, so there I've got my middle green. Now I want to make a yellow green. I'm going to place some of this green right there, and I'm going to get another knife. I'm going to add more yellow. Ta-da! A yellow green. And you'll notice that as we're making these tertiary greens, that it almost works like a value scale. Not exactly, but kinda. You know, that appears darker than that. That appears darker than that. Now I'm going to take this yellow green and I'm going to make a yellow green. And it's just what the name implies. It's got more yellow than green. So we get that real high key value yellow green, right? Look at that. Now I'm going to make a yellow green green. Yellow green green. I'm going to take some of my yellow green. I'll put it here. I didn't really reserve enough space, did I? And I'm going to take a little more green. Doesn't take much. I'm going to add it to the yellow green. Maybe a little more. And what I'm trying to do is create a green that's not as green, but greener than yellow green. Say that 3 times fast. It's not easy being green and blend in with so many ordinary things. Oh gosh, he's singing again. Stop. Okay, green. Green, that's green. That's yellow green. Yellow, yellow, green. Yellow, green, green. Okay? Let's play with tints for just a moment. Okay, let's see what white can do. I guess I should have laid out some white on this palette, huh? Let's go white. And I'm going to take some white and I'm going to add it to my yellow green green, my tertiary color, yellow green green. Look at that. Look at that beautiful color right there. And then let's play with a tint of green, some white, tint of green. Look at that. So we've started with 2 tubes of paint. We've made, I'm sorry, 3 tubes of paint. 3 tubes of paint. More coffee's needed. 3 tubes of paint. I made 3 additional secondary colors, right? And then I also made 3 additional tertiary colors. So let's just count heads for a minute, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Looks like I've got 18 colors here, right? Let me get my yellow, yellow, orange. Get my yellow, yellow, orange happening. There we go. Look at all that color. 3 and 3, that's 6. And then between secondary and primary, there's 3 other colors, right? So there's 3 more, that's 9. There's 3 more, 10, 11, 12. There's 3 more, right? Well, I'm counting that one twice. Anyway, you get a bunch of colors, what you get, okay? Primaries, secondaries, and tertiaries. Primaries are the yellow, red, and blue. I'm going over this a bunch of times, that way you get the concept. Yellow, red, blue, blue, red, yellow, blue, however you want to say it, those are your primaries. Green, orange, violet, okay? Green, orange, violet. Violet, orange, green. Orange, green, violet. Those are your secondaries. They are made from a combination of the 2 primaries, okay? The 2 adjoining primaries. If I need an orange, I mix yellow and red. Duh. If I need a violet, I mix blue and red. If I need a green, I mix blue and yellow. Those are the secondaries. Then there's the tertiary color. That's the smaller combinations of color that sit in between the primary and the secondaries. Yellow green, yellow orange, red violet, blue violet. Those are examples of tertiary colors, okay? Then if I start tinting things, right, I start messing around with tinting things, I'm changing the value of a color, we can extend that palette even further, right? That beautiful pumpkin color right there. Let's play with the red-orange for a minute. Now, as I said before, this is a demonstration video. I'm showing you how this works. It would be highly recommended if you, as you're watching this video, did this along with me, okay? Turn it back to start, run it again, and do it with me. Get experience with mixing color. Upcoming videos, in our next video, we're going to introduce color onto the tonal value underpainting that we were doing with the earth tones. After that, we're going to get into a new exercise dealing with complementary color relationships. Complementary. All right, we're going to get into some color theory. How do you make tonal values using just this color that you've got right here? I'll show you how to do that. Upcoming assignments will be, I like to categorize them as color problems. Okay, so we'll be getting into color now. Remember what I said in the last video? Paint is about color. We're going to set aside the earth tones for a while and deal with color for the next few paintings. And we'll get back into the earth tones again when we start doing some figurative stuff. I'm going to have you do a portrait painting. If you look at your syllabus, you'll see that we have a portrait painting exercise. Not exercise, it's an assignment. And we'll get back into the earth tones then. But for now, if you don't already have your 3 primary colors, get them, okay? Go back and look at the supply list. You'll see that I have the primaries listed there in the paint supplies. I also have some other colors, an alternative set of primaries, which we'll get into in the near future. Okay, things like Hansa yellow, alizarin crimson, cerulean blue. Okay, we'll start looking at some different types of color. But for now, you need your primaries: cad yellow medium, cad red medium, ultramarine blue. And look at all the color you can make just with those 3. And this is only a sampling of what's possible. Okay. So that's it for now. That's our introductory color demo. Next video, which will be out very soon, we'll be introducing color on top of our earth tone underpainting. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.